Welcome to Yahoo Finance Presents. I am here with Ryan Reynolds, actor and Mint Mobile owner. How are you, Ryan?
I'm good, Allie. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us. Where are you today?
I'm in New York.
Oh, you're in New York.
Beautiful
Cool.
New York. Yeah. You guys are in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles. So let's dive right into Mint's deflation campaign.
Yeah.
So you're lowering rates, doing the opposite of what Big Wireless does because, quote, we don't hate you. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, yeah. Look, AT&T, they're raising their prices due to inflation, and AT&T and Verizon are, and it's we just wanted to do the opposite of that. Mint's dropping prices on all plans, including its unlimited plan down to $15 a month for the first 3 months. And look, this is the exact reason that I became an owner of this company, is that it's a company that just thinks different, pivots when it needs to. I've never quite understood. Look, wireless is an essential service. Why would you pay $100 a month for something where you could get the exact same thing for $15 a month? That's quite literally the business model of Mint. There's no brick and mortar. It's a company that has largely pioneered the D2C online wireless category, and we built a business that really truly scales so much more efficiently than your traditional brick and mortars. And that's the special sauce that instead of keeping those efficiencies, we're passing them on right back to the customer in the form of crazy low prices. And I think right now, in the world we're living in, economically speaking, it's kind of the perfect time for people to discover what Mint has to offer.
Yeah, I'd love to spin that out a little bit. We've been talking about inflation now for the last 2 years-ish. So what made right now the right time to run this promotion?
Well, it's more than anything, it's right in the zeitgeist. I think this is something that has become a cultural conversation. Inflation, it might not be the sexiest cultural conversation, but it's on the tips of so many people's tongues, and rightly so. Big Wireless, they're posting these multi-billion-dollar profits, even just this last quarter, and then they're raising prices due to inflation. That's to me, that is a humongous opportunity that I'm going to jump on. And my colleagues at Mint, my partners at Mint felt the same way. So this is exactly what Mint was built for, moments like this.
And how long had you sort of been talking about this particular campaign, out of curiosity?
This has been something that we've been formulating for months now, as inflation is slowly sort of eked up. But at the same time, it's our baseline is already incredible. I mean, we offer unlimited plans for $30 a month. So, we have no plans to raise prices at all. And on 2 separate occasions, Mint we increased data bucket sizes for all subscribers at no cost to existing subscribers. So, and we'll also, one of the other things that I think is so interesting about Mint is its innovation isn't necessarily in the product, because we're offering the same service that Big Wireless is offering. It's the price. The innovation is in the price. I mean, you see so many people that are in my position, at least, that are working with or working for different companies and that sort of thing at these aspirational kinds of products. I think pragmatic is really sexy. I think practical is really sexy, and that's why I saw this enormous opportunity with Mint. It's why I think part of the reason this company has doubled year over year since it was founded 5 years ago. I mean, the revenue growth has been 90,000% over the last several years, which just sounds like an insane number. But as you can tell, I'm super excited about Mint. I think it really is the way, it should be. There's a reason it's growing this much, and it's pretty exciting to be a part of.
Yeah, I also kind of want to talk about the origins of your relationship with Mint, and go back to 2019. How did you connect with Mint, and what made you invest? It sounds like part of it is pragmatic is sexy, but I'd love to hear a little bit more.
My relationship with Mint actually predates 2019. It was one of the founders of Mint I was on the board with him at the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research, and I had a relationship with him, and he sort of turned me on to Mint. And I run a business, so I have a lot of employees, I have a lot of cell phones that I pay for and wireless plans that I pay for. So I tried it out, and there was literally zero difference. Except my bill was, 75% less than it would have been otherwise. So that I just tried it out for a while, but he had already talked to me about, hey, you want to partner up on this? Because this is an interesting space, and it's something that I think that you might enjoy. And turns out I do enjoy it, and it turns out I did want to partner up. So I bought a big chunk of the company. And from that point forward, this has been a huge piece of my time each and every day, and well placed as well. I love working with these folks, and I love what I get to do.
And, I mean, often when consumers think about a wireless brand, though, right, they think about the big three. So how is Mint positioning itself to be different? Price is a big part of that. What else?
Well, I just think that, wireless is, I think I touched on this earlier, wireless is essential. This is an essential service. There are almost no people that I'm aware of that do not use this service in some form or another. So, to innovate in terms of price and to allow folks optionality in that way, I think that's hugely important. And that's something that I personally love about it. I love how pragmatic it is, and I just love how well it works. So it's that to me is really everything. I mean, I could get into all the sort of nano details that don't really matter about why Mint is running so efficiently and why it works so well, but it really, at the end of the day, people care about is, does it work? Yes, it works just as well, if not better than big wireless, and it's a radically lower price. So,
the other thing about Mint that's really interesting is, I guess, like a lot of wireless companies, but in a way that feels really new, Mint, you've made some really memorable ads at Mint, and I feel like it's a big part of the Mint story. It also seems like you've kind of always been interested in marketing, advertising, aviation gin, maximum effort. So where does that interest in marketing come from, and how do you think about it?
I love storytelling, and storytelling is there is no one bucket for which we tell stories from. It's you tell stories in sports, we tell stories in marketing, we tell stories in movies and novels, all these different places. So I'm interested in any version of storytelling, and marketing is a wonderful version of storytelling. I have so much fun. I own a marketing company, Maximum Effort Marketing. That I spend my days kind of giggling and having the time of my life with the incredible creatives that I get to work with day in and day out, and we love telling stories, and we love acknowledging and playing with the cultural landscape. And that has been our kind of, I don't know, North Star since we were formed. I mean, I formed a marketing company by accident. I bought Aviation Gin. It started really with Deadpool, and then there were these incredibly profound principles that we learned in marketing Deadpool that we then carried over to products and services. So
that's really, what were some of those principles, out of curiosity? I know we're running out of time, but I'm curious.
No, I'm happy to talk about it. The biggest one is that necessity is the mother of invention. Every time that I've run into trouble in storytelling, in films in particular, is when there was too much time and too much money. So when you take some of those out and you add constraints, whether they're manufactured by us or manufactured by a third party, you get creative. Everything becomes more interesting. You start to replace spectacle, which is money, with character, which is free-ish. So most of our work we sort of circle the wagons around character over spectacle. So we're creating moments that are memorable, but we're creating them on a platform that is both scrappy, fast, and inexpensive. So we talk about this thing called fast advertising at Maximum Effort, and that is a big part of what we do. It's when we're acknowledging and jumping into the cultural conversation. Sometimes within 36 hours of the cultural conversation starting, we've already ideated, written, shot, and edited a commercial, and it's out. And that's something that I take great pride in. I'm not saying that that's the norm and that every marketing company should be working that way, but it's something that we love to do.
And, I want to hit on Aviation Gin just really quick. You invested in February 2018. And since then, we've actually seen a lot of high profile people, celebrities getting into the liquor industry. George Clooney with Casamigos, Kendall Jenner, 818. So what do you sort of make of so many big names getting into that industry in particular?
I don't know if I have a hot take on that. I think I know why I got into it. Spirits in that business, there's mischief involved. You get to kind of have a little bit of fun with the storytelling. There's something about that was wildly appealing to me. And also, I just genuinely, not unlike Mint, I'm not an inventor. I don't innovate this way. I buy into companies that are already perfect. Mint Mobile was already perfect when I got there. Aviation Gin, I do not make gin, thank God, because the company would not have done nearly as well as it's been doing. So Aviation Gin was already perfect when I got there. I loved the product. I used the product. It was part of my life. So, you know, for me, the story's been pretty authentic as far as these kinds of things go, but I can't really speak to what everyone else's reasoning is behind it. But it's, yeah, certainly growing that the spirits industry with, you know, within Hollywood and sports for sure.
All right, so we're going to do a quick lightning round because I know we're winding down. I am not going to time it, but I will, let's say you try to answer in as few sentences as possible. Maybe, is that fair?
Oh God, that's going to really test my, my ability. Brevity is the soul of wit, as they say. So let's do it. Let's try.
We can do it. We can do it. I believe in you. So what's the biggest lesson you learned about money after becoming famous?
The biggest lesson I learned about money. Oh boy, the biggest lesson I learned about money. Wow, I guess the biggest lesson I learned about money was predated being in the public eye. It was my father. It was just anything you can do to stay out of debt. And I know that's a tall order because I, like a lot of people, had, you know, loans early on and all kinds of stuff. So, but yeah, I've worked hard to always live within my means as much as possible. But that's since I had a paper route at 13 years old. So that's always been kind of a tried and true thing. That was not brief. I'm sorry, Allie.
No, you're doing
I've blown
great.
this for you.
Is there an item you hate spending a lot of money on?
Well, I did hate spending a lot of money on big wireless, but I solved that problem. So.
There, you solved the problem. And then we're in a bear market. Do you change your investing or spending habits because of it?
Maybe spending a little bit. You know, again, not to go full circle, but that's why I think this is why Mint Mobile is in prime time right now. But not my investing. No, not at all. I mean, it's you know, it's sometimes investing is emotional, sometimes it's analytical. But no, I don't change any of that stuff.
And how do you talk to your kids about money?
Oh, I think, you know, kids really need to be having that conversation about how money, how finance works, energy around these sorts of things. I mean, this is something that I think everybody on planet Earth thinks about so much more than they care to admit or talk about. So with our kids, we really try to, you know, create an environment where we'll talk about anything. We talk about money all the time. My daughter's saving; she's trying to save $200 right now to donate to the Sick Kids Foundation, which is a charity that I support and have worked with for many years. And I love that she's willing to do that at 7 years old. But she's starting to understand, though, that there's an energy around that. Doing that feels good. Giving that feels good. So yeah, I trust me, I am not advocating that I'm an expert parent. You know, I feel like just summer break just started, so I feel like this is the moment parents have been training for since the beginning. This is where it's gonna get, the rubber hits the road, so to speak.
And then, you know, the one of the last things I wanted to ask was, you know, being an actor, requisite Hollywood question. What has it been like as Hollywood's business model sort of changed? What's it like releasing something on streaming as opposed to, you know, through a studio?
Well, you know, you're asking somebody who's incredibly biased. Like I've always seen storytelling to be a much more broad spectrum than just one experience in how we tell or how we receive stories or how we tell stories. So like I love streaming. I love the movie theater experience. I love sitting in a theater. I mean, when Free Guy came out, I got to sit in the theater and watch that with an audience. And, you know, for me, that was one of the most special moments in my entire life. You know, then you have something like, I had a movie called The Adam Project, which recently came out on Netflix. And, you know, I just love that hits a target or a group of people that may otherwise not hit. I had 8-year-olds asking me about the movie as well as 90-year-olds. So there are certain things that, you know, come with streaming that are really beautiful. And there's certain things with the theatrical experience that are also incredible too. So, but it has changed so much. It's constantly evolving and changing. I'm so curious where it's going to go, you know, 10, 20 years from now.
And all right, last question before we go. What is the most important thing you want people to know about Mint?
Oh boy, what's this important thing that I think it's hard to sort of nutshell it, but a lot of people, and I love proving this to them, they can't believe it's as good, if not better, than the big wireless programs that they're already paying $100 a month for. They can't believe that something that is $15 a month can be as good as something that is $100 a month. And the fact is, it is. And that is quite literally why the business exists. That is the white space. That is why we are here. And that is why the company is growing as rapidly as it's growing.
Thank you so much for joining us, Ryan.
My absolute pleasure, Ali. Thank you. I'm sorry if I wasn't as fast in the lightning round as we wanted, but
I thought, you know what, it's I will say it varied, but I ultimately thought you said some really awesome stuff, and we're really excited we got to have you.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.